joining us for a very special interview and on a very special day ahead of an even more special day. It was this, I guess, around 6 years ago at this point. I'm sure they'll correct me on the dates, but their first ever play on a radio station was on Radio Kerry. It was Saturday night on Fresh with Cathal Flaherty. And a new band called Picture This had this fairly catchy song called Take My Hand. And ever since then, they've gone on just to achieve 300 million streams online. They sold out the Three Arena 5 nights in a row. And of course, they have played down here in the INEC Arena in Killarney several times over with amazing, memorable nights. And they are now promising to bring another 3 amazing nights to the Kingdom, their only Irish dates this year. Picture This, all 4 of you have joined us. How are you?
Well,
how are you?
So we have Owen, Cliff, Jimmy, and we have Ryan. Ryan, that's it, isn't it? Yeah, you're the fella in the background.
I'm the least important
one. So first off, I need to ask this. Cliff Dean, is that your real name or is that a stage name?
No, well, my real name is Clifford, but ever since I went to secondary school, since I was 14 or so, everyone has just called me Cliff. So it's weird. I've actually been asked that quite a few times, but yeah, my name is Cliff Dean. So there you go.
Okay, I might change my name to Bren Fuller now.
Nice.
might be cooler to shorten it, because Clifford Dean isn't quite as rock and roll, but Cliff Dean, oh yeah,
sounds
rocking
cool,
out on the guitar. And then Owen, I'm going to have to ask you where you got your hair done, because last time you were down in Killarney, you got a fantastic chop in Sean Taft's.
I did actually, yeah. That was a good haircut. But our tour manager, our friend, is a hairstylist, and he done it for me. So
okay,
quick and easy one. Yeah,
so it's like, I mean, it's nice for outside of Kerry, like it's an okay haircut, but down here in Kerry, only joking.
Re-dyed then for the Killarney gigs. Yeah, I'll go back to normal.
Yeah. And that's I was going to ask you the real reason behind coming to Kerry for your only Irish dates this year. I think it's just for Owen's hair, is it?
Of course, we need to get that haircut back.
We need to show it off around the country. So
yeah, and the barbers were closed for long enough as well. But no, on a more serious note, it was such an amazingly exciting week here in Radio Kerry to hear that, well, first of all, that there was going to be a gig happening, and then that it was coming here in Kerry, and then that they're the only Irish dates this year. It's just been a huge ball of excitement for the fans here and just everyone around the county. They're all buzzing that these kind of nights and occasions are coming back, and normal life is just around the corner. So Ryan, you might tell me why it was that you ended up picking Killarney as the venue for these Irish dates, because everyone knows that you played the Three Arena for those amazing 5 shows. But me being at your gigs in Killarney myself, I just know that there's a special atmosphere on those nights here in Kerry.
Yeah, there really is, and that's the reason that we want to come back and do the 3 nights. It's like it doesn't get enough credit, Killarney, for the atmosphere and for just playing live shows in general. Our first show there was in the Acoustic Club, and even that at the time was like on that kind of small first tour we did. It was an amazing atmosphere even on that level, and just every time we came back, the people of Kerry they just always bring it, and it's a very unique atmosphere. And we find especially we usually do play around Christmas time, around December, which we're doing again this year. And yeah, there's just something in the air that you just don't really get anywhere else. And we love a mental crowd, and the INEC always brings a mental crowd. So we can't wait to come back, and yeah, it's the only shows we're going to be playing in Ireland this year. So it's very, very exciting for us.
And I was also at that acoustic club gig. And remind me, at what point in your career was that at? That was one of your very first shows, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was in our first ever tour. We did a tour of Ireland. What year was that? 2016, yeah. So it was our first ever tour, yeah. Like, that was crazy for us because it was the first time we had started playing shows. I mean, for me, I had never even really played shows in general. I was so fresh to music, so like I was really green to it. And it was weird because I just never considered that we could even play a show, let alone do a tour. And then doing that tour around Ireland was just insane. Just seeing people actually show up, like that tour was sold out or whatever. And it was crazy, yeah, because I don't know if I'd ever even been to Killarney before that. So it was an amazing kind of eye opener for our amazing country. And yeah, it was our first ever tour.
And you had a few songs out at that stage. And I remember going to the gig and me being on the radio, being very familiar with your music. But it was a real sort of foreshadowing and a good insight into what was ahead of you. Because everyone who was there, I mean, it was pretty much packed to capacity, the acoustic club, but they all knew the words already.
Yeah, that was always a strange thing at the beginning as well, was that like not having an album out and going and playing, like selling out a tour was just weird. So we knew that there was something special happening for the band. And like you're saying, yeah, I remember one point of that tour in particular was the first night of the tour was in Dundalk, and we had just released a song called Jane 2 nights before that. And I just started to play it, and they sang every word back, which was the song was only out 2 nights, and it was just posted on YouTube. It wasn't a big single or anything. And that was a really poignant moment for us to be like, wow, we're really connecting with people. And that continued the whole way through that tour, including Killarney. And it's just amazing memories and just such simple times. We didn't know what was going to happen. And like you said, it was just kind of foreshadowing the future, that whole tour, and Killarney included.
Yeah, and again, just thinking of the last gig I was at was your own show in the INEC Arena. I think it was December 2019. True Tides were supporting, and just the entire night was just phenomenal altogether. And again, it was as if the entire room knew that there was something around the corner, because everyone was just having the time of their lives that night. And I'm always thinking about your poor old wardrobe, because you were wearing the most spectacular gold suit head to toe. I mean, you must be just dying not being able to wear those kinds of clothes without the gigs. Like, do you have any special outfits lined up for this time around?
That's very true. I feel very like frustrated in terms of that, because I've had so many ideas of like what I can wear on stage, because I love that. It's like such a big part of the whole thing for me. And I do remember walking out and on stage wearing that sparkling gold suit, and like, yeah, it was almost like those pants were like way too tight. It was like spandex, like way too tight, especially for Killarney. You know what I mean? It's like I might went too far that night. But I love it, because it was just like, I love the crack that, because it's a great thing about Irish people is how much they take the piss, and I like that in Ireland.
Yeah.
In other countries, you kind of get like applauded for dressing like that. And it's like, wow, that's cool. But then in Ireland, you get the opposite in a nice way. And Killarney's always great for that. But I do remember just how crazy that show was. It just felt like the atmosphere was just, it was so intense. And it was that show was actually one of my favorite shows we've ever done ever. And I often think about it. It was just such a crazy night, and yeah, amazing as always.
Yeah, maybe just to top it off and to enhance the look a little bit more and make it a Kerry outfit, you could wear a green and gold suit this time.
Oh yeah, I should have thought of that actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I actually walked out on stage one of the times we played the INEC, and for the encore, and I was wearing a Kerry jersey because I'm good friends with Paul Galvin, and he had designed the jersey at the time. Say that must have been 2018. But half of the crowd started booing because there was loads of people from Cork. And I just took the jersey off straight away and threw it into the crowd. It was so scary. It was
sorry. Yeah. Leave the room, you know.
It was the first time I've ever experienced like any sort of like negative atmosphere at a show. It was really scary. So I just took it off and threw it into the crowd.
There is going to be, I don't know what it is going to be like tomorrow morning when people are getting up and they're looking at their phones or the laptops. They'll have everyone logging on to try and get tickets. However many they can get their hands on, they're going to be trying to grab them as quickly as they can. But what can people expect? You've mentioned, obviously, the outfits that you'll be concocting away in your mind, but in terms of music and an entire show, I mean, I was looking at the amount of songs we have here on the Radio Kerry system, and it's hard to pick a few songs out of that to play on the show today. So what are you looking like, especially with a new album on the way? Jimmy, you might give me an idea of how difficult it is trying to whittle down a set with all the music you have now.
Yeah, like we actually were doing it recently. We were here, weren't we, looking at like what songs we could play. And it was so hard because like even if you go onto our Spotify top, like how many songs we play? 10, 15, sometimes 20 songs. The top 20 are all singles, you know, or songs that we have to play. So it's going to be tough because we don't want to leave out a certain song that a crowd would love. But even like you said, the amount of songs that are on the radio system as well, it's going to be a hit parade. You know, maybe we just have to play a really long set.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to start supporting ourselves and play like the album tracks. Support
Yeah.
and just do all the hits for the show.
Yeah, picture this with picture that. So it's like these guys look very similar to them. What a great tribute act.
Yeah.
Or you could just do busking down at the Market Cross or something like that during the day. It's, you know, people will be giving out if they don't hear every single song. But I was doing a count of it, and of course we have the new album coming out and more new singles. So One Direction, if you think about all of their hits that they had 18 songs in our system. You've already got 20. So it's pretty prolific stuff. Like, and you're just thinking, how did that happen so quickly? You know, you've got just a few albums and already there with that amount of radio quality singles.
Is that really? Do we have 20 songs on the system?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well,
There's a set list.
Yeah, whatever that is.
I'll forward it on to you. All right.
Yeah.
It's like Radio Kerry. We're actually just like a really creepy fangirl. We're like, every song, more picture this. But honestly, it's our listeners who just can't get enough of your music. So I'm guessing, is that one of the reasons as well? You've spoken about the atmosphere down here, Ryan, and that you know, there's something in the room that when you're performing the INEC that it's a special night. But it just seems like you've got a real stronghold of fans down here right from the get-go, from getting your first play on a radio station to one of your first gigs in the acoustic club. It must be a nice sort of a string to keep carrying along the different stages of your career.
Yeah, it really does. It feels like we're almost owned by Kerry in a way because of that first radio play from Caught at that time. And just since we started from that first tour, there's always been a real like draw for us there for whatever reason. It's just always been that way, maybe because they feel that kind of ownership over us, because I guess in a way when you really look at it, that's where we broke from. I know it's like most people will break from like London or New York or even Dublin, but we happen to break from Kerry, which is very random, but there's just that kind of reciprocal love between us and the people of Kerry, and that's why we always love coming back. And it always feels like a celebration or something when we're there, which is for whatever reason. And that's why, again, like I'm saying, when it's in December and it's near Christmas and everybody's just pumped for a show, already it's super amazing and super intense. So I can't imagine what it's going to be like having not played shows and everybody not been to shows. It's going to be really amazing. I can't wait.